Jennifer, and I'm reading from the book of Acts, chapter 2, from verse 42 through verse 47, and I read, "They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe, and many wonders and miraculous signs were done by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. Selling their possessions and goods, they gave to everyone as he had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved."
Hi, Bob Hatton from Germany. Good that you're here again. Yesterday we were talking about Peter's preaching and the reaction of the people who listened to him and what he said to them. And we had 5 points, and the last point was that they were added to the church. Now, what does this church do? As we continue reading in the Acts of the Apostle, chapter 2, now in verse 42, we come to 4 things that are listed there, which seems to be elements of church life at the beginning, and I think also should be elements of our church life today. The first thing was that they remained, that they stayed, that they were devoted to the teaching of the apostles. Now, we don't have any of the apostles around today, not the 12 apostles either, but they left us something. They left us this book, and especially the latter part of the book, which we call the New Testament. They left us that book, and this book is a very powerful book, and I would encourage you to read in it. That is the teaching of the apostles. That's where we can devote ourselves to the teaching of the apostles, learn what they said, learn what they believe, and we find out that it becomes very practical for us. I've read the New Testament many times now at this stage of life. Looking back, I've read it through many times, and I just in this corona virus crisis decided I was going to read the New Testament again. I've got a Bible, I've got an app on my telephone, YouVersion, and there's a lot of suggested Bible reading plans on that app, and I decided I'm going to try to read the New Testament through once more in 60 days. I don't know whether I'll do it, but I'll try anyway. And it's something that it supports us, it builds us up, and it is very good. Now, that was one thing that they did. They devoted themselves to the teaching of the apostle. And the next thing was they devoted themselves also to fellowship. That is, they shared their lives with their brothers and sisters in the church. They shared their sorrows, they shared their joys. They helped one another, they supported one another, they encouraged one another, they were with one another. And that is something very important. We're not Christians alone. Sometimes we know that people cause us problems, and they might cause us a little bit of grief as well. But actually, they help us to grow. We help the others to grow. There should be a sharing. Fellowship actually means sharing life together. And I think this is a very important aspect, and we prove that Christianity is real by sharing our lives with other people. Now, so we have the apostles' doctrine, and then we have a fellowship, and the next thing is the breaking of bread, which of course it's a strange expression. It does mean that they shared food. That's part of fellowship as well. They would eat together at various times, but as well as that, they would take what we call the emblems, the bread and the wine. The bread as a symbol for the broken body of Jesus, and the wine as a symbol for his shed blood. And they would take that and they would celebrate and remember that Jesus died, that he rose again. This is something that is also very powerful. It's something that we can't do properly at the moment. We can't really have fellowship at the moment because of the shutdown, and we are isolated from brothers and sisters at the moment. But even through this, I think this coming Sunday, we're going to celebrate communion celebrate the breaking of bread with brothers and sisters via the internet on Zoom. I know it's not quite the same as doing it together in one room and being together, but at least it's something, and we've done it before, and it's been very dramatic. It's something that supports us, and also as we do this, and we sit here with the emblems in our hands, and remember the death of Christ, the resurrection of Christ. Remember what Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, and he says, "Do this." He's quoting Jesus, and he says, "Do this until I come again." And what we're actually proclaiming that Jesus is coming again. And that means we are people with hope. Jesus will return. This earth, this planet will not continue to go eternally as it is going. Jesus will return, and something new will then start. And the fourth thing that they devoted themselves to, besides the teaching of the apostles, the fellowship and the breaking of bread, was prayer. It's good to pray. When we pray, we are speaking to God. Now, Jesus said when you pray, don't do it like the Pharisees did it. Don't go onto the street corners and make a big thing about it, but rather go into your room, and when you're alone, pray to your Father. The Father, he sees you even in secret. Now, it is good, and it's a good discipline if we learn how to pray, and to pray when we're alone. But it's also good if we can pray together as a church, if we can pray together. Now, even in this corona crisis, we would think, oh boy, now we can't pray together. Well, we don't always need to be in the same room to pray. And I just remembered in Matthew chapter 8, a Roman centurion came to Jesus, and he said, my servant is sick. And Jesus said, okay, I'll come along and I'll lay my hands on him, or I'll do whatever I do. And the centurion, the Roman, he says, no, don't do that. If we translate it into our days, we could say, because of the shutdown, you're not allowed to go out. So just speak the word, and my servant will be better. And that's what happened. Jesus just spoke the word, and we found out that the power of God touched this servant, and he was made healthy again. Now, this prayer, worship is part of prayer. When we do worship a lot with music and songs, and we try to proclaim the attributes of God and what he's done, and then there's also the thanksgiving for that what he's generally done, for his death, for his resurrection, but also for the things that he's done personally for me in my life. I can bring thanksgiving. I also bring my supplications to him, and of course also the intercession, that I pray for the needs that I might have, or the people around me might have, or the church might have. And this is not just saying prayers or reading something, but this is really talking to God, getting hold of God, and knowing that this is something that moves the hand of God. A number of years ago, we were having our church service. We gathered together on a Sunday morning, and just a few minutes before church started, a man came to me, and he explained to me that his dad was not doing very well, that he was sick or something, and would we pray for him? But his dad wasn't actually in Germany at this time. He was in a large city, but about 1,000 kilometers away. But would we pray for him? So I said we would do that. And as we started in the service, we came to a point in the service where we were going to pray for various things. And I explained that our friend's dad was sick in this foreign country, and we were going to pray for him now. And I remember us praying for him, and praying for him very powerfully with loud voices, and sometimes all together. And we prayed for this guy. And a week later, the son came back to me, and he said, at the very time that we prayed for him in Germany, the father felt in this other country, he felt a surge of power go through his body, and since then he was well again. This is something that is very powerful, and it's something that we should practice as a church. The teaching, we should devote ourselves to the teaching of the apostles, to fellowship, to breaking of bread, and to prayer. So have a good day, and see you again. God bless you. Bob Hatton from Germany.